Hello, we are Team 102. I'm Chanel Miller, and my fellow teammates are Travis Adams, Grace Armfield, Jordan Goldstein, and Ethan Rowland. In this demo, we will discuss the progress made on our project, which is the Capital One Neighborhood Pulse application.
Before we launch into what's new for Sprint 2, we'd like to talk a little bit about where we started from. So what was done at the end of Sprint 1? In Sprint 1, we built a basic front end that was little more than a map with pins on it, these pins representing events. Those events came from a very basic backend, which just dumped data from the database in JSON to the front end. And that database only had one source supporting it, ATL events.
At the end of Sprint 2, our app has begun to look a lot more like an actual web application. First of all, we added a new data source that we scraped in order to get more events. We also added some basic filtering to our map, which is the core functionality for our end-game app. We also finalized our front-end layout, as you can see a little sneak peek below. We also built out the filtering endpoint that the backend uses in order to serve filters to the front end to display.
The additional source that we scraped from was Eventbrite, which provided our team with access to additional events that take place in the Atlanta area.
The new filter endpoint that was built into the backend is a new endpoint for HTTP GET requests. These GET requests can be supplied with a variety of criteria, such as a date range, categories of events, and the location that the user is searching in. Queries are then constructed dynamically at runtime based on whatever parameters are provided in that GET request. They are then pushed down into the database. The events are retrieved, they are packaged into JSON, and sent on to the front end. This decreased the coupling between the front end and back end because there's only one point of contact between the two.
Now let's have a look at our application. As noted, we've added some filters here, which can modify the events that are displayed. And as you can see, we have our default 75, that's just arbitrary. And if I decrease this to just 10, you'll notice that the amount of events shown decreases. This front end constructs an HTTP request, as Jordan was talking about, with a limit of 10, sends it back to the back end, which then retrieves those events and sends them back where they're displayed here. And in addition to our number of results filter, we also added this, back to the default, there we go. We also added this date range filter where we have a beginning date and an ending date. And if we change our filter here, you will note that the number of events has decreased because I've made the date range smaller. And we also noted in our Sprint 2 deliverables that we finalized the front-end design. Here you see we have our Capital One logo, we have a search bar, which in future sprints will be functional to search for events as well as locations. We also added a sign-in button, which is a Sprint 3 goal. And we also added this nice event list, which corresponds directly to the events that are displayed on the map. We also have this save button, which is another sneak peek into what will come with Sprint 3. This concludes our Sprint 2 demo. Thank you a bunch for watching.